The topics covered in this video will be general information about covalent bonds, steps for covalent bonding, and the types of covalent bonds. Covalent bonds are also known as molecular compounds. This type of bond only happens between nonmetals. They are formed when two or more atoms are bonded together by the sharing of valence electrons. A more realistic example would be two little boys sharing a dump truck, rather than one child taking the truck away from the other. Covalent bonding occurs so that the atoms can attain an octet. This number of valence electrons, 8, is needed for the atoms to be stable and unreactive. Noble gases already have 8 valence electrons. They are stable and therefore do not bond. Spotting the difference. Review. Which of the following pairs of elements can form covalent bonds? Do sodium and potassium form a covalent bond? No. Sodium and potassium do not form a covalent bond because both of the elements are metals. They form a metallic bond. Do the elements lithium and chlorine form a covalent bond? No. Lithium and chlorine do not form a covalent bond because lithium is a metal and chlorine is a nonmetal. These two elements would form an ionic compound. Do fluorine and iodine form a covalent bond? Yay! Yes. Fluorine and iodine do form a covalent bond because both of the elements are nonmetals. What about neon and krypton? Did they form a covalent bond? No. Neon and krypton do not form a covalent bond because even though they are both nonmetals, they are noble gases and therefore have 8 valence electrons and do not bond. There are 2 steps to follow when forming covalent bonds. The first is to draw the electron dot structures for the elements, and the second step is to draw a dash to connect the single electrons. For example, let's take the elements nitrogen and hydrogen. Nitrogen has 5 valence electrons and hydrogen has 1. To reach an octet, there needs to be 3 hydrogen atoms to the 1 nitrogen atom. Draw the electron dot structures for nitrogen and hydrogen. Now connect the single electrons. Match up hydrogen's single electrons to nitrogen's single electrons. The shared pairs of electrons can be represented by a dash. This makes writing out the bond more organized and easier to read. There are 3 types of covalent bonds: single, double, and triple. A single covalent bond is a bond that involves one shared pair of electrons. For example, fluorine and iodine both have 7 valence electrons, so there will only be one shared pair of electrons. A double covalent bond is a bond that involves 2 shared pairs of electrons. Let's take oxygen, for example. Oxygen has 6 valence electrons, so when it is bonded to itself or any other element, there needs to be at least 2 bonds. A triple covalent bond is a bond that involves 3 shared pairs of electrons. Nitrogen has 5 valence electrons, so when it is bonded to itself or any other element with 5 valence electrons, there will be 3 bonds.